Okay, amazing. So obviously this human over here is part of my announcement. So I want to introduce you guys to Jen Grayeb. Jen is a dear friend and longtime client. Gosh, how long have you been a client, Jen?
Since 2018.
Yeah, so like a very long time. Like
I'm like, how many years is that?
And so guys know I always kind of like cut to the gist, but then I will have Jen share more with you. But the gist is the thing I said I would never do is together. Jen and I have created, well, Jen created mostly, which we'll get into, but a course. So I always said I would never sell a course. And I always reserved the right to change my mind. And here I am changing my mind for a very, very good reason. But I will get into all that. But first, I want you to meet Jen. So Jen, just like tell everyone a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Jen. Like I said, I've been working with Lacey since 2018. I've been in and out of the online space since, I shouldn't even admit what year I started. I think like officially 2003, but technically in 95 is when I started building websites. So, but I started making money online right around 2003 or 2002. And I've been in and out of the space doing many different things. I've also worked in corporate, so I have a corporate HR background. And most recently, for the past 3 or 4 years, I've run a company called the Nimble Co. that specialized in marketing measurement. So I found a lot of online business owners didn't understand what numbers they should be looking at in their business. They didn't want to have to get into like the real deep and thick kind of scary data stuff, but that they needed that information to make good decisions. And so I found a way to kind of translate the numbers and the scary tech into something that is usable and easy for online business owners to access. And you know, that you and I kind of, you were there through the whole thing as my services shifted in that direction, and how we got to where we are today.
So Jen's kind of underselling herself, but we will get there. But she is absolutely like one of the smartest humans I've ever met and just excels at everything she does ever. She like has had multiple businesses. She's sold them. She's not just like an HR person. She's like the absolute top in her field for a Fortune 500 company. Like there are so many amazing things about her that you will all get to know. But basically, Jen and I have started a new company together, which is called DATABLE. I'm so excited about the name, you guys. You get it, like data-able, but also like you can make your business dateable. There's a lot to play with there. But we've started DATABLE together because I really just feel like our space has gotten so far away from trusting ourselves, from learning from our own businesses. You guys, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, you know, one of the things I say the most is like, you can learn more from your business than you can from anyone else's. And every time I say that, everyone's like, but how? And I get it, because like, but how, right? And Jen has the answer to that through the way that she helps us use data. So the course isn't about like things you need to do in your business. The course helps you build data dashboards that tell you in real time what's working and what's not working in your business. And the singular reason I have decided to do a course is because, or that I wouldn't do a course, I guess I should say, is because I never felt like it would be personalized enough. You guys know that that's why I do one-on-one, because it's all about personalization. And I always said I would never do a course because I never saw that it would be like personalized in any real way. Data is the only thing that can do that though. Like if we can teach you to extract data from your business, we have a personalized course because it's telling you exactly what to do in your own business, which that is what I'm so passionate about here. It's not like you have to be obsessed with numbers or something like that. Although I hope over time I'll convince you they can be your friend and not your enemy. But what I really want you to be obsessed with is learning from your own business and your own audience and like your own stuff instead of learning from everyone else's. Like, I feel like, I mean, I'm going to go on a soapbox for a second, but I feel like in the online space, we've just become obsessed with what everyone else did and what they're doing. And like, we trust them and their intuition and their data more than our own. And like, that has to shift if we want to build like real, sustainable, profitable, impactful, and integrity businesses. And so that is our goal here. So let me read some of your comments. Yeah, Jamie. Hey, Jamie. Jamie said like some people are so freaked out by numbers, which is so true. Like I have like so much empathy and compassion for that too, because like same, I'm really not a numbers person, and like Jen kind of isn't, but I feel like she's converted over time.
only because I've had to become one, but yes. I still catch myself saying I'm not a numbers person, and I have to like slap myself on the hand because I'm like, no, Jen, you are a numbers person. But I think what it is that like we have the wrong idea about numbers people.
Yes.
I really think that's all it is. Because I suck at math, right? Like there's no, I'm not going to try to pretend to you that like I'm a human calculator. But I love looking at numbers because I can see a story in numbers now in a way that yes. I couldn't before.
Totally. And I think it's such funny. I mean, obviously Jen and I have been working behind the scenes on this for a little while, which I want to tell you guys about like how this kind of came about too. But it's funny because I feel like I just spent Black Friday because I did a live stream last week on like what to do if your Black Friday didn't go as planned. And basically this is what I was saying, because I feel like I spent Black Friday kind of like immersed in doing this with my clients. Like, what are the numbers telling us? What's the story here? What do we need to learn from this? That kind of thing, right? And I think that's it. It's not about like using the numbers to make yourself bad or wrong or, you know, feel like you're screwing it up or whatever. It's about using the numbers to be like, oh, this is what my business is telling me. Like your business is always talking to you. You can learn from it, right? Like if you listen to it kind of thing. So good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Katrina's tracked her. I always do metrics that matter in my business with my clients. And she said she's been doing it since 2018, but didn't know what to do with them. So good. Love the idea of a story in numbers. Yes. Jamie said, if I wasn't married to an accountant and data nerd, my business would not have scaled to 7 figures. Totally. I feel like this is the missing piece I can't teach because not everyone has a data guy as their operations manager. So glad you're creating this. Oh, that's such a good way to say it. Oh, can I be affiliate? Yes, you can, Jamie. But right, like, that's exactly it. It's like, I think, listen, do you have to have data to get to 6 figures? I don't think so, but I think you'll get there quicker if you have it. Do I think you need it to scale well beyond that? I really do. And what I also think is really interesting is that I think a lot of people don't even realize they're using data. So Jen is in my Millionaire Makers mastermind, and she'll call that out all the time. Like people will be like, well, I'm not a numbers person, but da, da, da. And Jen's like, look at you, you're using data, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm thinking of a recent example of that.
Yes. Yes, exactly that, Elisa. She said, looking at my numbers from a neutral point always makes me feel like such an empowered CEO. Yes. Yes. Your business is always talking to you. Exactly. Chelsea. So, announcement is basically, I started a second business, which I want to talk about in a second too, that a little place not going anywhere, but, started a second business with this one right here, Jen, and it is called DATABLE. And we're, basically helping very specifically female business owners, create dashboards in their business that give them like real-time access to data that they can use to make more money, make more profit, do the right things, save time, energy. We'll talk about all that. But the one thing I did want to say that I don't think I said earlier is like, this means nothing about a lit up life. Like I'm still taking a client on, you guys know that, doing that this week. Everything is still like normal at a lit up life, but this is just something that I feel really passionate about doing in addition to that, because it just fits my ethos so much. Like I'm already doing this with clients all the time. And quite honestly, have encouraged a lot of my clients to hire Jen, because it makes our lives so much easier. And so just having seen how easy it is when clients go down this road, it makes me so excited about doing it. So I'll just tell you all this story really quickly, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit more about DATABLE. But basically, I've been Jen's coach, like she said, since 2018. And Jen had gotten to the point where she was looking for a business partner. Do you want to tell this part, Jen?
Sure. Yeah. So I ended up going back to corporate in March of this year, which I know is surprising to people in our space, because I think a lot of people take that as like, oh, was your business not going well? Or like, what was the problem? And it's like, well, the problem is I'm somebody that has a ton of different interests, and I don't like, my normal habit would be like, oh, Lacey, like, why don't I introduce HR to measurement and like really make a dumpster fire of my marketing, right? And so Lacey has always
had that conversation many a time.
Many a time. So Lacey's always been good about like pulling me back, staying focused on, you know, the business that I've built versus change. Well, earlier this year, as life would have it, I was approached by my old manager about an awesome job opportunity that was just amazing in so many ways and was going to fill my cup in this whole way that I wasn't able to do with my business. And so made the decision to go back, but without stopping the business, right? We just scaled back, stopped offering services, and focused on the program. And so I've been juggling both very happily since March. And
I think it's also really important to say too, just because I feel like no one talks about this, but like your business in the 4 years or whatever since you started it has like made $1 million. Like, so it's not like, I think that like everyone thinks like you only go back if like you said, like you're not doing well, or like you're only keeping it as a side hustle. It's like you had like a very like full business and plate. It just like really served you better.
100%. Like, I think I paid myself close to 200K last year. Like, it was not a financial decision, although my package from the corporate job was very attractive. It was really just a matter of fulfillment. I love learning. I love growing. And this was a way that I could keep myself learning, growing, engaged in something different that wouldn't result in me making dangerous changes to my business, frankly. So zero regrets about going back. And in the summer, I realized that if you build it, they don't just come, right? We knew that, but I had already had a marketing machine going, but I knew that we really needed to focus more on sales and marketing. I like live for measuring those things, but actually going and doing it is not my towering strength. Lacey, this is why we make such a good combo, right? Because I can be like, oh, let me translate the super nerdy. And then Lacey's like, and let me translate that to why it matters for business. So I knew that it was time to bring someone else in that could really focus on that area of the business, so that I could just focus on creating content and teaching, because that is what I'm really passionate about. And so I didn't even put it out there, but I think I had 1 week where like 4 different people, it was just like the universe knew that I was ready. And 4 different people approached me in the course of like a week or 2 weeks saying, hey, we think this is going to be a huge thing. Like, we would love to partner with you and, help with sales and marketing. And so I went to Lacey to say, here are the different people that have approached. Here are kind of the pros and cons to all of these different relationships that I see. I was super grateful for all of them, but I don't know that any single one felt like this is the match. And so Lacey, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. So we agreed okay, these are like really cool. This is like feeling exciting, but like none of these are truly the match. And I was kind of encouraging Jen, like, I think you should hold out for the really right fit. And Jen was kind of like, I don't know, I might just pick one of these. So I was talking to Kenny about it one night, because obviously she's been my client for so long. He's heard me talk about her over the years, and I was like going on and on about this, right? And Kenny and I was like saying to him, like, oh, because I had an idea of someone else that I thought maybe you could partner with, and and I'm like having this whole conversation. Kenny looks at me, he's like, sounds like you want it to be you. And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, do you hear yourself? Like, do you hear yourself? You definitely want it to be you. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I do want it to be me. Like, because I was talking so passionately about it. And I was like, this is the most genius thing. Like, every entrepreneur needs this, da, 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 da. And he was like, wait, what? And then also I've separately been saying to him quite often, like, I'm obsessed with a lit up life and I love everything I'm doing there, but I truly miss more of the sales portion of my business. I mean, this is so ridiculous, you guys, but you know the story of like, when I shut down my one-on-one, I cried for like 2.5 days because I wasn't going to be able to do more sales calls. It's so stupid, but I just really like it. And so I sat with it for like a little while, because I was like, I don't, this seems like really poor timing. Like I had a baby this year. We were moving, like there was just like a lot. And I just couldn't find a reason not to do it. Like everything just made sense. And so I asked Jen to get on a call and I was like, hey, like, I'm going to tell you this. I don't want you to answer me today. I really want you to sit with this. And I like barely got the words out. She was like, done, sold. Like, let's start. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, no. Like, you like have to think about this. It's a very big deal. But anyway, she was like, nope, we're good. Let's do it. So from then on, we've kind of been like doing Dateable. Pretty exciting. Hannah says, love Kenny. Kenny does always have the best ideas. It's very annoying, but it's true.
Can you,
yes, you do have Kenny to say.
like unrelated to this, can you tell them about what Kenny built for the first Happy Thoughts retreat?
Oh, the shot machine.
Yeah.
So for the first Happy Thoughts retreat, we like wanted to like do, but like, Sarah and I were very much like have wine and do the live streams and like all this stuff. So Kenny like bought an old shot machine thing, painted it, like refinished it, painted it, like put Happy Thoughts logos all over it and like delivers it to the first Happy Thoughts retreat. He was like very, very proud of himself. So anyway, jack of all trades.
I was like, she was going to marry this man. Like,
yes, we were just dating then. We weren't married. And Jen was like, yes, this is the one. But yeah, so basically with Dateable, the goal is really to help you use data to make better decisions in your business. So we really believe like data-driven decisions are what change the game in your business. This does not mean you don't use your gut or your intuition or any of those things. But if you use your gut and do something, then you can measure how well that's working and you can adjust accordingly. Like this is, I think that sometimes where people get freaked out by numbers is they feel like then they're almost giving up control to their numbers. Like they have to do whatever that says. And that's not true either. But like, if you don't know your numbers and you're operating just off of guesses, or I think worse than that, if you're operating just off what other people tell you to do, I really believe that's the number one way that people get in a lot of business debt and work way harder than they need to. But Jen, I know you've been doing this for quite some time. So like, tell me what you see in that front. Like, what happens when you come in? Like, so Jen has worked with a lot of very big businesses to build data into their business. And I don't know if they would say this, but I think you would, but like a lot of them did it a little too late. Like they're doing it when they like desperately need it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like sometimes a little bit of like a, when people see what they've been missing. And something I always say is like, just because you're making money doesn't mean you're not leaving money on the table, right? Like, and that's what's happening with a lot of these big businesses is they're coming and they're bringing in millions a year, but then you look and you're like, your conversion rate is 0.25%. So like all of these other people, all of these other humans that you could have been here and helping and selling to, right? Like have just walked away because you didn't know where to focus to optimize because you were making money, right? So I see a lot of that. I see a lot of people who are super well-intentioned. Like I genuinely do think humans are well-intentioned. And I think there's someone in particular that comes to mind that I saw a couple weeks ago on Instagram telling everyone like this one marketing tactic is dead. Don't do this, only do this. And I'm sitting there going, well, one, I've made thousands of dollars doing the other thing, like in the past couple of months, right? Like the thing that you're saying is dead and no one can make money with. And I'm not even on this other platform that you're saying everybody has to be on. And I think that's kind of dangerous for the one, for somebody in a leadership position to say, but two, for people to just go blindly follow because they think I look up to this person is making money. They must know that this new thing is the thing and this old thing is not the thing anymore. And the reality is it totally depends on your business. Like some people still do really well with blogging. Some people do really well with Instagram. Some people do really well with TikTok, right? Like that's why there are specialists in all of those areas. But you need to see where your people are. Who are you speaking to? What are you selling? Where are those humans? And where is the best place for you to engage with them in a way that makes them want to buy from you? And obviously this goes without saying in this group, but when I talk about sales, kind of nonchalantly in that way, that is assuming you are selling something that actually solves the problem that you're claiming that it sells and is operating with integrity, because that's important to me. But yeah, I mean, I think people just don't realize that I've never looked at their analytics and thought, yep, you're doing everything right. Like, have a great day. Right? Like,
go on with your life.
Yeah, there's always something. Like and I'm not saying
agreed.
that you're going to find something that's like, oh my gosh, I've been doing it wrong. I don't believe, like, I think the rules are fake. I don't think that you're doing anything wrong. I think that there's opportunities, right? Like, there's things that you're like, I can use even the program that I was selling prior to us partnering with DATABLE. Like, it was doing well all of last year. So I wasn't really paying attention to my own data, right? Shoemakers Kids, I was building client dashboards. I was focusing on other people's stuff. And when I looked, the conversion rate was awful. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these people, like, I actually felt bad because I'm like, all of these people took the time to look at the sales page, right? Like, this was a problem that I firmly believe everyone needs this. So
Yep.
I actually felt really guilty because I was like, oh my goodness, now all these people are out there. They're like on YouTube. They're like trying to piecemeal directions. I totally could have helped them. My team is amazing. Like, the support people are phenomenal. Like, I'm like, I felt terrible for all these humans that I missed. And obviously financially, I'm like, dang, we left a lot of money on the table. So it's not always like this horrible thing, or you're going to have to rebuild everything, but it makes it really clear. Oh, okay, let's spend some time investing in our sales page, right? Where on our sales page do we want to invest? What is the actual problem? So that we're not just throwing dollars at everything going, I hope one of these things fixes it.
Exactly. Which is like what I think is like the number one issue in our space right now. And the thing is, there's like, no, by the way, I dropped the website. I forgot to do that earlier. If you guys want to check it out, it's getdatable.com. But I think that's the number one issue in our space right now, is like, there's almost like becoming an awareness that like you said, like, all the rules are fake, and like everyone just telling you exactly what they did is like some level of bullshit, but nobody knows what else to do. So it keeps working. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, what if we all got empowered and knew our own numbers? Then like, you get to buy the thing that actually makes sense for you. So it's like, if you know your numbers, then your sales page is the issue. Then investing in like a really amazing copywriter, a really amazing course on that makes a ton of sense. If you're just guessing and you're just like, well, I'm going to go hire like this person to help me, but actually your sales page was converting like so well, and then you change it because that wasn't even the issue. Like, you've just wasted time, money, energy, effort, and you're going to be like 5 steps behind now. And so having this information doesn't mean never make another investment or never buy anything, or that like you shouldn't ever buy another course, but it means like you should buy it because you have like physical evidence in your business that it solves the right problem. And I really feel like this could be the thing. This is like my pie in the sky hope, but I feel like it could be like the thing that stops people from feeling so not enough in our space all the time. Because I feel like the only reason people feel not enough in our space all the time is because they truly do not know what's working or not working in their business, and they feel like everyone else does. And then they like shame themselves and feel bad and like overspend and like listen to everyone else and not themselves. Like, if you had data, like could that be the thing that shifts that? Now, you're gonna have to do a lot of fucking mindset work, don't get me wrong, but like, could that be the thing that shifts it? Because you actually know what's going on in your own business,
Yeah.
So like, when you saw that sales page, you didn't get like shamey to yourself. You were just like, oh, that like, yeah, I kind of fucked that up. Let me fix it. It wasn't like this huge ordeal, like happens sometimes in our space when we don't actually know what's wrong.
Yeah. And I can give so many examples. There's one example I do want to share of a client that had come to me, and he had like a tripwire. So he was running ads to a Facebook lead magnet, right? And once the person opted in, it went to a thank you page that had like a sales page on it. And the lead magnet was converting like insane, right? I want to say it was something like 20 or 40% of people who clicked on the ad opted in, which was like incredible.
For cold traffic, that's insane. Yeah.
It was wild. Granted, this was years ago when Facebook ads were like more of a slot machine than they are today. But the actual conversion of the product that was on the tripwire was like non-existent sales. Like, it was like 0.001% or something ridiculous. And we were like, this makes no sense, right? I mean, this should at least be getting like 1% of people moving on to buy this product. Like, we were reading the sales page, we're looking at everything, we're like, what is the problem? So he went and got a quote to redo the sales page, right? Because like most people, he's like, well, if nobody's converting, it's the sales page. So he got a quote. It was going to be $10,000 to rewrite the sales page and design it, load it, all the things. And I'm like, let me just peek at your data just a little bit more before we make a decision on that investment. And I noticed that everybody viewing that page was on mobile. And I was like, interesting. Okay. So I opened the thank you page on mobile, the thank you page that had the sales page on it. And the video that said like, scroll down to read more and everything else was below the fold on mobile. So people were hitting it. They saw thank you. They thought they were done and they closed the tab. And so he was about to spend $10,000 to like redo a whole sales page when there was not, I don't know that the sales page, I don't work with him anymore, but my understanding is like the sales page itself was definitely not the initial problem. Like the initial problem was people didn't know that they needed to scroll. So you need to either move elements up or put arrows down or do something.
Yeah.
But to then go spend, he could have went and spent that $10,000 and then said, oh, look, that old copy was wrong. It was bad. I didn't do a good job. And it's like, no, you just didn't realize because you're a human and, like you weren't looking at data and you didn't know that could be a problem.
Yes, that's a perfect example. And I think that, what we often think in our business is not usually what's wrong. Like we have so much bias in our own business and we have so many stories and we're so blind to it. Like, for example, maybe he had the story that he's bad at copy or something like that. So that's the first thing his brain would go to. And it would reinforce that. And so what data helps you do is take away all your bullshit stories too. Like this is my favorite thing about using it with clients is that they can't tell themselves stories, right? Like one of my clients thinks she's really bad at like presenting. And so we were looking at stuff for her funnel and she was basically like, I need to redo my entire webinar, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, really? Like, let's look at it more. And so of course we like dive in and look at it more. Her webinar is converting so well. It was a completely separate problem, but it was like, she just brought her own personal bias and her own personal story that she's like bad at presenting. And so to her, it would be the webinar. Do you know how much effing time that would have taken for her to like redo the whole thing? And then for us to redo all the emails related to that, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, that was not the freaking issue at all, but our own brains like make stuff up and point us in the wrong direction a lot of the time. And when that's happening, it's hard for like your coach to even help you because they can only go off what you're telling them to a certain extent, right? So it's like not even that every program is at fault here by any means, but it's like they can only go off what you're bringing too,
100%, yeah.
So like this is also an opportunity for you to be like, what would it look like to bring my coach this data? What would it look like to bring this to a program or like a mastermind or a coaching session that I'm in and say like, hey, what I can see in my funnel is that this works really well. This doesn't. This is where people are getting stuck. This is where people are falling off. Like game changer, right?
Well, and I'm going to give a disclaimer before I say this.
She does that a lot. Yeah, same.
while I led with, I wasn't a numbers person and I'm not a math person. Do not mistake that for me not being a nerd. Like I am 100% a nerd. And the thing that I love about this that helps me like not get in my own head is making it a game. Like to me, it's like a giant science experiment, right? Like I'm like, I think if I send people to this lead magnet over this lead magnet, I'm going to get more conversions. And I get to test that and I have actual numbers to validate or say, oh, you know what, you were wrong. That's not the right thing, but isn't this cool that this was happening? Now let me follow that path, right? So it becomes less about like, am I right or am I wrong? Or like, what do I do? And more about like almost gamifying your business because you get to find things to dig into. Like I love learning from that way and being able to test and play and come up with like a hypotheses, right? And like actually validate that.
100%. And I think that is so empowering in business like that. Like, I feel like everyone talks about like CEO vibes or whatever. And to me, like, that's the ultimate CEO energy or whatever is to be like, I can like have a theory in my business and then I can go test it and I can see what the results of that are. And, I think something to be clear about, because I feel like this will be a question is like, and by the way, if you guys have questions, let us know. But something to be really clear about is like, it's really never too early or too late in your business to start using data, because even if you're just at the beginning, like imagine having clean data from the beginning of your business and being able to follow that track from the start. Like that is insane, like, right? But if you're very far along and you're like, oh my God, we've never used data, like Jen said earlier, if you've never used data and you're making great money, you probably are leaving a shit ton of it on the table. So either way it works, but like again, that's why I chose to do this and why this aligns so much to my values, is because no one isn't going to benefit from this no matter where they're at in business. It's not like a program where it's like, you have to be making between exactly this much and exactly this much. And we tell you exactly this strategy and it only works in this once. It's like, it literally always works. Like even for me being full and one-on-one and all of that, it still works for me to know like, well, where is my time and energy being well spent, at least in getting people to the podcast or getting people to listen or getting people to engage with me more. Like even that is really useful, right? And, oh no, Nina tried to sign up for the freebie, but she's getting a 404 error.
I'm on it. Let's see what's going on there. We just switched all of our tech over today. So we're
everybody's very into the story piece. Yes, exactly. I think that makes it so empowering. So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit that it feels important to say here is, I feel like in our space over the past few years, we've just taken such a drastic swing. Like when Jen and I first got in here, I feel like it was so like, there's one way to do things, take these 3 steps. It's super like, you know, intense and rigid and all of that. But then I feel like we've swung so far the other way where it's like, you're only cool if you like never have to have a sales call, never use a sales page, like make up an offer, like tell people nothing. We're just like, I have an offer and you should buy it because I am amazing. Like I'm being an asshole, but it's true. Like I feel like what I really want to have the conversation with about bringing data into the picture is like, what does it look like for us to run like real sustainable businesses? And I'm not saying you can't have a real business without a sales page or something like that, but I am saying like this idea that like your offers don't have merit or value enough to even have like a page or to even track or to even like, you know, tell people what they're getting. Like, I really feel like I want to see us, you know, move away from that and have much more of a call to like, what does it look like to like completely back and stand behind the offers we put out, to really be willing to like not only use data to track like what's happening in our marketing, but use data to like make sure our students are having a great experience, right? And, oh yes, Jess, I'm so sorry, I missed that. Yes, we have a lot to say about that, and also Jen fixed the page. Thank you, Jen. But yeah, I just think that like this idea of like, let's get back to like treating our businesses like businesses, like, and like actually looking at numbers behind them. And again, it doesn't mean you can't like use every bit of intuition you want with it, but like, I'm just so like, I think it's become so harmful how it's like only good business if it looks like you're not running a business. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. And it's just, I have so many thoughts on that whole, so I'm just gonna.
So can you answer Jess's question? Can you see it?
Yes. So how is it relevant for service providers, coaches, and educators? So I'm going to actually speak to like service providers and coaches a little bit differently. Obviously, I consider a coach a service provider because you're providing a service, but I think there's kind of a difference between like done for you service providers and coaches. So in terms of how I think this program is relevant for coaches, one, obviously to be able to measure your own business, right? And understand, like when I talk about a funnel, for you, it's probably booking a discovery call or your sales process, right? But like, how are people moving through that process for you? How are you getting clients? Which of your marketing activities are actually resulting in people becoming a client or paying you money in some way versus the ones that aren't? So, you know, step 1 to coach, it's like use it on you. And then step 2, I think it's helping your clients implement data in their businesses. Like Lacey was saying before, one of the challenges for coaches is that you're limited to what your client is telling you.
Yes.
And so if you actually can help them set up some data in their business, or be able to feel confident to talk to them about the data, to say, hey, do you have this? Or can you give me these 3 numbers, so that we can dig into this more and figure out, is this a mindset thing or is this an actual problem? And if it's a problem, are we solving the right problem before we go down that path? So before I get into more done for you services, Lacey, is there anything you would add there for the coaching person?
I think that I want to be really careful at how I say this, because this isn't true across the board, but I think if you are coaching people on business, I think, yes, use yourself. One of the things I always say is be your own best case study. So 100%, I think you should set this up for yourself. And I think having this awareness to bring to your clients makes a big difference. I don't mean that you have to go build it in their business for them, but I mean, like Jen said, being able to be like, oh, I know the steps in a funnel or in a launch, and I know what numbers to ask for, and I know where people fall off, like you were saying. I just think having the both and there is really important. Do I think you need to be a coach who's building all these in their client businesses? No, I never do. But do I think that it's going to serve you on multiple fronts? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, 100%. I was just responding to somebody's message in here as well. Oops, I tagged the wrong person.
Oh, I see it. I grabbed Elisa's question.
Okay, perfect. All right. I'm just gonna see there. I had responded to that. So no, 100%. And I think then when it comes to a done for you service provider, I think there's a lot of different service providers out there offering various things, right? I think where we've seen a lot of people in the program that really like having this skill set are people that are virtual assistants, OBMs, DOOs. So anybody doing an operations type role for clients, I think it's really helpful, because in those roles, and I've lived this, so I'm speaking from firsthand experience, it's really hard sometimes because people are coming at you, the business owners that you work with all day about go do this, go change that. And sometimes you feel are we even focusing on the right things? Am I even are my efforts actually making a difference in terms of generating income? And then also just the pain of being asked regularly. I know I was can you make a spreadsheet? Can you oh, we're in the middle of this launch and I want to see XYZ. Can you pull all that together? Right. So being able to know how to do that, and either, some people end up doing this and they're I want to just offer measurement as a service, but most people go through it and they're this is awesome. Now I can add dashboards into what I'm offering my clients, which often can be an upsell, right? To say hey, not only am I going to do your, I don't know, launch management for you, but you're going to have a launch dashboard as well. And then, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. And Jen has done this. So she used to sell this almost entirely. And you were selling that for what, over $5,000?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Between 5,000 and 8,000 was the average price of a measurement setup that I sold as a standalone. I've done VIP days as low as 3,000, I think. And then dashboard add-ons for as low as 1,000 to an existing service, depending. Again, all of those things are different. They each include different things and are different amounts of work.
And Jen has done this for some really incredible businesses. She's worked with Funnel Gorgeous, Sophia Amorosa. Oh my gosh, I'm blinking now.
I've done it with so many. I can't even. Jordan Gill is a big one that I think most people in our space know.
Yeah, but basically these businesses are using this, and they want to hire people to do it, is kind of our point. At a certain point, Jen was so overwhelmed, she just had to stop doing it and was referring out to people in the program, because so many people, when they realize what data can do, want it. And it was just spreading like crazy.
Yeah, I was on a call a couple months ago with Rick Mulready, who's kind of a big marketer in our space. And he was because he had heard through, his network that I was doing this as a service. By the time he talked to me, I was no longer doing it myself. But he was Jen, I get asked this, he was looking, I think it was Gabrielle Bernstein was looking for someone to do this for her. And so he was trying to look for connections in this space. And he's all of my 7-figure clients need this. They're regularly looking for it. They don't know where to find it. He was if I were to start a business from the ground, from nothing today, it would be this business, offering this as a service, because with how, especially data privacy laws and things like that are changing, people need this information and it's almost becoming more difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually think it's more difficult to figure out, but it is like timely information now more than ever, given those changes. But yeah, I mean, offering it as a standalone service, offering it in addition to something else you do. I know I gave all operations examples, but like marketers as well, people building funnels, like sell a funnel dashboard. Right now, you're building a funnel and you're giving it to the client, and the client has to kind of piecemeal that together through all the different pieces, right? Because maybe they have their landing page and lead pages, and then their checkouts and Thrivecart, and then their thank you page takes them to Thinkific, right? I don't know, but like, so they're having to piece that together. You could easily build them a dashboard, and those are super simple to build, by the way, and highly valuable to a client. Social media managers, right? Like we've had website builders. I won't list it, but like, you know, and I will say, and I know, Lacey, I never need to say this to you, but for those of you that don't know me, I think I'm probably one of like the most honest, transparent people ever. So
to a fault, yes.
Like absolutely to a fault. So like, when I say email us, if you're not sure, like email us, because if you're like, hey, I offer, like, I'm a, I don't know, professional dog walker, and I want to know if this applies to me, like, let's talk it through. Because if it doesn't, like, I do not, and sorry, again, now I'm speaking for more than one person, so I should probably like be better with my disclaimers, but like, I know like, and I know this about you too, like, we don't want money from someone that doesn't need what we're selling. So like that's just not who we are. And that's never been who I've been. Yeah. That's like miserable. So like, truly, if there is a scenario that we haven't touched here and you're like, does that apply to me? You can email us and we'll let you know. And like, we'll say, here's what that could look like. You know, we'll talk it through.
Yes. And also think about like, you know, sometimes what's so nice about this is like, it can show your clients the value of your work. Like I know one of my clients does a lot of social media management and agency stuff, and she's so excited about using this more because it will show her clients the value of what she's doing for them versus them just having to guess. And then also one of my clients has a big Facebook ads agency and was very excited about this as well, because she was like, oh my God, like this is what we want to be able to do for our clients, because explaining that data to them is so complicated sometimes. And so having like a way to give that to them. So if you, maybe you could talk about this for a second, Jen. So in our program, there's actually 2 tracks. So one is for business owners and one is actually for service providers if you're looking to add measurement as a service. And we give you like white label dashboards that you can use. So if you want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 2 tracks, but everybody does start with the core track. So it's kind of like the standard version. Everybody goes through the same thing. Again, Lacey and I feel really strongly about customizing and personalizing. And so even throughout the core program itself, there are like different fast passes you can take, right? So I imagine people who are wanting to do this as a service, they're going to want to learn the details. They want to like nerd out. Whereas you might, if you're just doing this for yourself, you may just feel like, I don't really care about the why, just tell me what to set up so I can use this information. So we made sure that throughout the whole core curriculum, there are those opportunities, right, to kind of pick what feels best for you where you are in business and for your why. Then we have VIP, which is like an add-on, and that, again, like Lacey said, offers white labeled agency dashboards. So you don't have to build your own in terms of selling to clients. Like we have built and sold these to clients for years and years, and you could just take those and change the colors, put your logo on it, start using it with your clients. It also goes into kind of more of the advanced analytics, right? Solving maybe the next level of questions that business owners might come to you with, especially if you're working with like really large businesses that are going to have more complex setups. And that also talks more about the business of measurement, right? So like, how do you sell measurement as a service? Like, what would that look like? How would you package it? How do you market it? How do you talk about it? So it kind of has more of those components as well.
Sienna said an NPS dashboard. Do you know what that means? I don't know what that means.
I can't see the chat anymore. NPS. No.
Let us know a little bit more what you meant there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer it, but I'm not quite sure. Oh, yep. And then, hey, Av put our email, so you can email us there. Hey, Ariel. Yes. I'm sure if you're a client, you already know this because we emailed everybody in advance of this to obviously tell you, but if you're one of my clients, you get Measure Max Nights for free because we obviously like want to encourage you to use this. But a lot of my clients have already told me, and I want to just say this because I think it's helpful to hear. A lot of my clients have told me that their having their VA go through it. So like you don't even have to be the one to go through the course if that doesn't work for you. You can have your team build it for you. And honestly, in some ways it's better to have your team build it if they're the one that's going to be maintaining it and all of that all the time. So they actually know how to do it. So like, you know, Megan built ours. So remember that it doesn't mean it has to be you doing it. A lot of people do put their team through it.
Yeah. And the seat is yours. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like you're like, oh, I put Mary in it and now Mary's moved on and I have a new VA. Like it's your seat. So, it's whoever's active in your business that's doing that how you want to use your seat. I mean, we try to just operate on an honor system and of integrity. And then NPS, yes, I'm sorry, my brain was not here. Net promoter score. We don't necessarily teach like a net promoter score dashboard, so to speak, just because you have to have like things in place. For those of you that don't know, net promoter score is like customer satisfaction. It's like, when you buy something and sometimes it's like, how likely are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to recommend this product to others, right? And I've absolutely built dashboards like that before. You just need a mechanism to grab that information. And I would also want to talk about like why you're doing it, what you're going to do with it, etc. We add a ton, like if there were any current students here, I know that they would validate this. Like we add a ton to the program as needs come up, right? So like if someone were like, hey, I need, I want to be able to know my net promoter score for my business. I mean, if you're really just looking for that, you could use a Google form. You don't even need a dashboard, right? But like, we'll talk through that and we give a lot of those scenarios and then we save the clips and offer that as a resource. For example, somebody had asked about quiz effectiveness and they're like, everybody has quizzes now, right?
Yes.
Like, what is my quiz doing for me? And they were looking at like the quiz conversion rate, which is awesome to see, right? But I would take that a step further and say, okay, like, but are those people actually going on to buy anything from you? Because if they're not, like, does it matter how many of them are getting on your list if they're never buying, right? And so we made like a whole process for here's how you would actually track that and figure that out. And then what you might do with that information. So any like unique things like that come up, we're always more than happy to talk through like how we would figure that out.
Yes, totally. And like, that's the fun of it is that like things will come up that we couldn't have thought of or whatever. And like being able to like help you with that is what's exciting to us. So in the program is called Measure Maximize. I don't even know if we said that, but it's basically we're helping you like measure your efforts and maximize the results of them. And so there's like a business owner track, there's a VIP track, more like service provider, data as a service track. And basically we teach you to build 4 dashboards. So a sales dashboard, a launch dashboard, a funnel dashboard, and a traffic dashboard. So sales obviously being like everything about your sales, where that's coming from. Launch, so useful to have during a launch to be able to like real time see what's happening in your launch and make adjustments / look back and see what you want to adjust for next time and compare it to previous launches. Traffic or attribution dashboard. I think that would be like in large part, maybe the most valuable for a lot of people listening to just be like, where is your traffic coming from? Because people are so shocked at this when they see this. Like, it's like you think it's all from Instagram, but then you look and like it's from this one blog post you wrote 2.5 years ago or something like that. I'm kidding, but not. It's a game changer. Like most people do not know this. Like, do you know where your clients are coming from in your business? Like, if not, like, that's a game changer. And obviously it goes more in depth. And then a funnel dashboard. So you can look at the entirety of your funnel and see like where people are falling off and actually be able to fix it. So we teach you how to build all 4 of those and you'll walk away with like just having a dashboard there that updates in real time that you can just always look at. Like imagine being able to like go into next year having that. And so the business owner track is going to be $12.97 starting in January because I'm going to also come in, I'm going to like teach a little bit in it. And I'm also going to offer monthly data nights. You get it? Data nights. This is like almost one of the first things that I decided on when we decided we were doing this. I'm like, I'm doing something called data nights. It's not even at night. It's at like 3 p.m., but whatever. Where you can bring me your dashboards and your data and I'll help you figure out what to do with that and interpret that. So this is where Jen and I are like such a great fit is Jen's so good at being like, how can we measure that? And I'm going to help you be like, now what do you do with that measurement and that information? So anyway, it's going to go up to $12.97 in January, because obviously we're just adding a lot of shit, but we kind of just didn't have the energy to do that this year, if we're just being really honest. So right now it's $9.97. So I think one important thing I want to say, oh, we have to wrap up in like 2 minutes, but I think one important thing I want to say is like, as much as data is your answer to everything, it's not the only investment you're ever going to have to make. But it's like the investment that can make every other investment pay off. So I just like really want it to, like, everyone to have that frame of mind going into it. Like, this should be the thing that directs all your other resources and investments. And it's not like you might not still want a coach or a programmer. Like, this isn't going to tell you like how to post on Instagram or something, but it is going to tell you if Instagram's working for you and if that's like a wise place to invest. So I really want you to remember that. And then also, Jen, could you answer Elisa's question? Because she said, I have to hop off soon, but watching the rest later. Can you talk a little bit around if you need specific software for landing pages, et cetera, in order to benefit from the course?
Yeah, absolutely. So no, I mean, I guess I never want to say no generically, because there's always a case that something appears today that's built as we're speaking that doesn't somehow work. I have never run into a tool that we cannot report from. If it is a tool, like if it's a tool you can install Google Analytics on, we can pull data from it. And I've yet in all of my years doing this have run into a tool where you can't do that. We also, I think it's important to note, and I don't know if maybe this was where the question was going, we build using all free tools. So we use Google Analytics is the tool. And I always hesitate telling people that, because they're like, ooh, that sounds really nerdy and scary. I promise it's not. And we use Google products to build the dashboards as well. There's a tool called Looker Studio. It's a drag and drop dashboard builder. You're not going to be coding anything. It's like amazing compared to some of the dashboards that, I don't know if you've been sucked in on any funnel on Facebook, but there are a lot of really cool looking dashboard tools out there. And then when you actually go to try to set them up, it's like all of a sudden you're needing to use SQL and hire a developer and nothing's connecting and it doesn't make sense. And now you're lost and frustrated, but you are trying to like recoup the time you've put into it. It's not like that at all. Everything's drag and drop. We have like the most amazing support people too. We truly offer one-on-one support. I, again, never want somebody feeling like they're making an investment and can't use it. So like we will, like we've gone as far as logged into people's accounts and like help them through it, right? So like we do not let people stay stuck. Like if at any point someone does feel stuck, like we are there with you, holding your hand, taking you through the rest of the process. But in case that was what the question came, if it was really about like a paid, whether or not it's a paid tool, no, we use free tools. And then, you know, all of the standard tools that are in our space right now, right? Like Lead Pages, ClickFunnels, FG Funnels, Kajabi, Kartra, like I've built on all of them. So I've extracted from all of them, I should say. So yeah, but you're always welcome. Again, if there's any kind of question specific to your setup, if you're like, but Jen, I have this, like these 3 random things, like email us. I'll look into it and personally let you know whether or not that it's feasible.
So good. Okay, we have to go because it is been a while, but don't worry, we'll be talking about this so much more. If you're on my list, you'll be getting more emails about it. And then also we'll drop a link. Just if you want to just sign up for our freebie, just as a starting point, like if you're like measure and maximize sounds great, but like I'm not there yet, that's totally cool. We have a metrics generator that you can sign up for. Basically, this is also personalized. You will get to know that is our entire goal here at DATABLE. But you just answer a few yes or no kind of questions, and it will tell you exactly what you should be measuring in your business and where to find it. Because we want you to only be measuring the things that actually matter to you in your business. Like even that has to be personalized, right? Like it's not just like everybody measure this one thing. It's like, here's what your business might need specifically. So Jen will drop it. You can grab the link to that. I think we put Get Dateable below, and then we will be back to talk about this a lot more. If you're on my list, you'll be getting a lot of emails about it. If you get on Dateable list, obviously you will hear from us there. You can also follow us at Get Dateable on Instagram, although, you know, it's going to take us a minute to get everything updated there. So stay with us, but thanks for being here, Jen. I'm so excited.
I am so excited, and I'm so excited to get to know all of you as well.
So good. All right. Well, if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them here if you're watching the replay, and we'll be back and talk to y'all more soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.